Recording in progress.
I'll go down to the bridges and they see this. The best is not this. Just go on it. Not there. And
He's gonna give us a whole visit.
he's gonna hold it. If someone walks in.
I told him, tell him something. There you go.
I do have a joke. It's actually Nathan's joke. Why did the local government install a roundabout right in front of City Hall? Because it perfectly reflected the decision-making process. Everyone keeps going in circles, nobody knows who has the right of way, and somehow it still costs $4 million. And with that, we will.
I don't really have.
Yeah, any more shares?
Some maybe I'll go on the lobby.
Wait.
We'll take care of that light. Good, you got it.
All right, with that, we will open our meeting at 6 p.m. with roll call
Mayor Keith Campbell,
here.
Councilmember Weathers,
Present?
Councilmember Spring. Yes. Councilmember Sears. Here. Councilmember Zarika. Councilmember Lala.
Here. Would you join us for the pledge of allegiance? Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have any amendments?
No, sir.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes and agenda as written.
Second.
I hear a first and a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Which brings us down to mayor and council comments. I have, probably our final update on, our little fishing scheme that happened that cost the city money. We got word this last week that, we are going to be awarded the other 25%, which, the total amount then is coming back to the city. So we through our insurance company, through quite a bit of paperwork and other ways of verifying trainings and so forth, we were able to fulfill our obligation there, and they made us whole. So we appreciate the especially the insurance company doing what they do. As being a new client of theirs, it was very it was a good experience, although it was a bad experience, but working with them was very good. So that's good news for the city. And with that, I believe that's kind of the last little end that needed to be tied up. And so, like I said, this is probably the last update that we'll need to make on that. So with that being said, let's see. The senior parade is Friday. I think I was gonna talk a little bit about that, but just a reminder on that, and congratulations to the seniors that are graduating. It's great. Other than that, I don't have anything. Anybody else?
I'd like to just say thank you for the stop signs on Fifth and Cass. It was much needed.
Great.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody else?
I noticed the crews out street sweeping, just wanna say thanks to them. Streets are looking a lot better.
All right. We're moving down to audience participation. Rachel Bright was on the list. I don't see her now, so. Bill,
I'm the operator, and I was here last month, and I brought up the subject of, I'm using the term handicap as the ADA parking, okay? And your response was, it kind of blew me off about the whole thing, but that's okay, I understand. And I mentioned that I was gonna maybe call a governor or something, I did the next morning. And what I got was a lot of information on how Newport is in non-compliance with the American Disabilities Act. Because there are no handicap places on the state highway. And you're authorized one for every 25 slots minimum down the street, okay? If you Google ADA parallel parking, highway to Newport, you get 4 pages of information on how to do all of that. Plus you get a picture if you don't want to read the stuff. Okay, on what a parallel parking place looks like. They're 18 feet long, painted curb blue, you got stuff. So my point is, Newport's not an ADA friendly city. I can go to the courthouse and get a handicap sticker for my truck, but I can't park in a handicap place in front of the courthouse to get close enough to go get it. If that makes any sense, that's the point of the whole discussion. So what I am asking is that the city take a serious look at putting some of those parking places in. A lot of folks, if I have a bad day, I can't walk half a block in the city. If I park on a side street, I can't get to the middle of the city to go shopping, mail a letter, go to the post office, even coming into this building is difficult. Okay, and I'm one of, 29% of Conway County. We're over 65 years old. So businesses are missing out on some seniors or other folks that are challenged mobility wise to go into the restaurant or go into the mail a letter or go into the whatever, even the hospitality house. We cater, I work there part-time, we cater to seniors. You can't park in front of the place. Okay, just for example. Having access close enough, which means if you park on Main Street right on the corner, you can get to the middle of the block. Does that make sense? Okay, those accesses are not available in this town. So my point is, it should be. So I'm asking if the city will consider even thinking about it. I personally am not done with the issue. I'm gonna be bugging you guys for a long time about this. I did make a case with the Department of Justice, it's a Title II non-compliance. I got a case number, they wrote me back and said, well, we get so many of these, it's not life threatening, so we don't enforce. But here's a list of lawyers locally that can give you all the information that you need to be in compliance with the American Disabilities Act. Okay, so all that being said, I have to leave here shortly, I'm a caretaker. All that being said is the city needs to be more cognizant of the needs of folks who are challenged, and they're not. Okay, and another case in point, you got this real fancy big city park. I push a wheelchair for my wife, I can't get her to a picnic table. Got a nice sidewalk, but I have to drive to the rodeo grounds to get on, but I can't get her down into the park. Across the street, you got a park that has all those little concrete sidewalks. So I'm just saying, you wanna try it out, get a walker and 15 feet of string. And see how far you get to get to where you wanna go in this town, you're not gonna be a happy person. Okay? That being said, I will leave you with all of that, I have said what I need to say. But I'll be back.
I just wanted to say one thing, though, Bill, and appreciate you coming in, actually, when you came last time, that did spur some conversation and some action as far as we're looking at that. We are looking at where we can put them and how we can do it and the cost, so, you know, it didn't fall on that,
I appreciate that very much.
so.
Alrighty, so.
I think this is a prime example of why we need to really schedule a workshop with Washtop. Because those are the questions that we would need to ask them as well,
Yeah.
so I would just say if the city could, heavily. I would say. Persuade them to come in and list their one of our, city council meetings. Make it as a workshop with Washtop, because we have several questions to do this with, and how do we accomplish this, right? If with their blessings, if we could do something on the state highway, which is the Union in Washington, or without their blessing, the side streets that we have, how do we actually put ADA parking closer that way? So I think that's what my goal would be, is ask the city to get in touch with Washtop and schedule one of our next meetings within the next month and a half, 2 months, if we get somebody to come here and actually talk about it.
Washtop was very informative about that, basically it says that it's a state highway, the parking lots belong to you.
Well,
Yeah, pretty much in a nutshell.
the side roads.
If the city wanted to do something, as long as it doesn't interfere with traffic on the state highway, you can do pretty much what you want. So, yeah,
It's
it's
not
not,
what they told us.
Yeah, it is, that's
Yeah.
kind
So
of.
that's why if we get somebody here from Washtop, we can
Yeah.
actually get them on
yeah,
record.
and eyeball with them, because they're pretty good about it.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of other organizations in the state that will volunteer to put those things in for you. I was surprised, the Washington ADA system is actually bigger than it looks. So anyway, thank you very much, sir, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Bill.
Can we spend that in motion to get that? Move faster?
I can request it, I don't know.
So let's see, we have a couple meetings coming up. I mean, like, if we could do it within the next 3 to 4 meetings, change our schedule. If you guys are good with this, change our schedule from a city council meeting to a workshop. And we get a Washtop representative here, and then we could actually ask several questions. And that means we'll be able to let the public ask the same questions.
Well, and I think it'd be a good opportunity to potentially talk about,
Yes.
other issues regarding the streets.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, we'll make the calls. and
So I can request it, I can't guarantee. but,
So I would just say, if you could request it, why don't you at least tag one of the city council people on it, and that way, if they just decline or say they're busy, then we could actually push the situation a little bit more that way.
Keep you guys informed.
Yeah.
Sure. Moving down to city administrator, Abby.
All right, so we attended a TIB workshop for small cities and the funding cycle for this year. Later in our agenda, we do have an out of call funding to put before you, and I'll explain more on that when that comes forward. We've also set up a meeting for them to come out on site and talk about our current project and ideas for 7th Street. We will be having our transportation improvement plan public hearing on July 6th. And so, some of the things that have been being talked about will be incorporated in that for the public hearing and then for council to vote on. The mayor and I will be giving, an update, kind of an overview of our comprehensive plan and where we're at with that at the commissioner meeting on June 10th. The senior parade is Friday, so it is at 3:30, so, a little bit earlier than it's been previously. So Department of Health actually got our, source water in faster than I've ever seen a state agreement be signed. So we had a kickoff meeting with our hydrogeologists this morning. We still have some paperwork to do for, he was able to get out on site and look at the wells and figure out what type of monitoring the wells are gonna have and, look at that. We did get an RV host. He has started. He arrived on the 25th, so we do have him on site now. So far, I've been getting a lot of great feedback and he's been cleaning up and just able to spend time there. The staff doesn't have the time to dedicate. The temp hires we talked about, we did hire 2 and they started last week. And we're in a lot of prep work for the road work. A lot of sweeping, a lot of, just making sure we have supplies, a lot of gravel. They're gonna start blasting the clean chip here, I think this week, and so we'll start getting that as well. And that's what I have.
Any questions for Abby?
So can we talk about second side street ADA parking? What would stop us from doing that?
The grade. It has to be less than 2.2% grade.
So do we have no spaces in the city limits that we could actually do this? I mean, are there any identifiable areas where we could actually put ADA parking?
I haven't had a chance today. I did pose a question to, the engineer we work with at SCJ Alliance, Scott Rivas, and so he has he did a overview evaluation of what that looks like. I haven't had a chance to dig into it yet.
Yeah, I think that's why the washout guy needs to be here, and that way, if he needs to get here early, he could walk the city and could say, hey, this is what we would let people really want.
Yeah. Sure. Anything else for Abby? Right, thank you. Moving down to new business, Megan Campbell, you're up.
Hi, thanks for having me. I know it's been a while since I've been here. I apologize for that. But I'm here now and I just want to say thank you, Nathan, again for pulling off an awesome Easter and volunteering and doing all of that. It really helps the chamber out. I heard it was successful as always. I love our community events. It's always awesome to see business owners come together to support local youth and families. I just wanted to give you an update on kind of what the chamber's been doing the last couple of months. We are instituting a folder program. I know we've talked to Abby about it previously, but we're putting together folders for let's say tourists and then those that are new to town. And so we're happy to share those with you guys if you want any once we have them stuffed. But chamber members were given the opportunity to put materials and then like a 1-page flyer on what services they offer, or I think like a special on a pizza if you're, new in town, or like this is where you go to hook up your utilities, or this is who you call, or this and that. And then there'll be one for tourists that are in, think of like locations like Ruby Creek or an Airbnb that attract people to come down to Newport, or member businesses. So we're working through that. That's almost done. And then this last month, we opened a member survey to kind of gauge what member services, or excuse me, member benefits, members, I'm saying members, that's a lot of times the same members say that 5 times fast, to put what their priorities are. Historically, as you know, the chamber's done a lot of community events, and we kind of wanted to just pose the question to members is what would you like to see your member fees go towards? And so that's one thing that we're looking at through the survey. I would say that the poll is kind of mixed, or the verdict is out. I don't think it means we're not jumping to any quick decision making. We're just trying to gauge and engage with our members. we lost our web employee over the last month, and so we are looking to hire again. And so we're working through that. You may have heard that our, membership is closed right now. It's on a temporary pause, just because we, in full transparency, feel like we would rather not overpromise and underdeliver. And so we closed membership as we kind of clean up some things on the back end, but it will be opening again soon. Everybody in the room. I just wanted to bring that up just to make sure that the narrative is consistent. But we're looking at and planning for the future priorities for the next year. And one thing that we are kind of excited about that we had a member tell us was he felt like tourism was something that really benefited everybody in the area, and he kind of asked us, how could the chamber benefit members that way? And so we've been kind of looking at kind of doing some things different this next year, which is exciting. And when we know more, we'll bring that to you. But that's what I have for kind of your late spring, update. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Sounds good.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Right, TIB grant agreement, Abby.
Okay, so, we are using a clean chip this year and it's being blasted for us. So the supplier asked for a 2-year commitment for that. I brought that to TIB. Their answer was yes, and solution was to award us an out-of-call project. So the scope of the project is just various city streets right now. We'll kind of focus that in as we get to 2027 construction year. But this was to make sure that we did have the funding to guarantee 2 years worth of projects. So they kind of went along with the last couple of years of asks for the dollar amount, and it is for $266,000 with our match being $14,000.
Got a lot of streets to get through, so let's get them on the schedule.
I'll make a motion to approve TIB grant 2E892.
Well, second.
There first and a second, any further discussion, comments?
Sure, I'll jump in this time.
Okay,
With the way we kind of became gun shy, as some of the state has offered money and then pulled it back, specifically with our comprehensive plan. Are we gonna end up in a similar situation? Is there a possibility to end up in the same situation? Can we schedule our contract with the subcontractor that actually does the work so that we keep a short payment cycle? Because I noticed the terms of our contract.
We don't have a subcontractor, we do self-work.
So what did you mean by scattering the rocks? You say shooting them down?
They're blasting the rocks right now from the supplier.
I understand.
And so we're purchasing 2 years worth this year. We'll be able to allocate some of this funding for next year's purchase. But all the work is self-done.
Okay, and in your experience, we've not had any problem with TIB not fulfilling their side of it?
No, as soon as we get this approved, signed, that money is locked in.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Volume, if memory serves me right, I think the other monies that were trying to be pulled back was kind of Monterey County lagging behind on their obligations.
That was not the reasoning. It's everyone who has a comprehensive plan due in 2027. They're trying to balance the supplementary budget.
Yeah.
And so,
Didn't you say that everybody else was done though?
no, so not everybody else is done. Everyone who has been done, who had a 2026 date or previous.
Okay, cause it was a multi-year.
So it was a 2-year funding, so they, there were some that started in 25 and are due in 26. They got full funding. It's those of us on the last of the schedule.
So we are not the only ones.
No, and it is, I've been having some conversations, there's quite the uproar right now
Imagine.
going on. with that.
Seems like what, Eastern Washington side? Like-
Yes, there's 3 counties, on the southwest Washington, right on the coast, and then eastern Washington, other than, Spokane County.
There's a map on Commerce's website.
Yes, it is.
Okay, there's a first and second on the floor. Other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve accounting clerk job description. Abby?
All right, so this, there wasn't substantive changes, we had to be in compliance. But, the actual salary range in their EEO, so this, isn't changing the roles and responsibilities, it's just making it compliant so we can, advertise for it.
Anyone have any questions?
Look good to me.
I will make a motion to approve the county clerk job description.
I'll second.
And first and second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve public works board pre-construction funding.
All right, so I let you know that we were being awarded these funds. This is the 60,000 for the bank stabilization portion of the wastewater improvements, engineering, and so this is the formal acceptance of that. We did receive funding, I believe it was last year, from Public Works Board for phase 1 engineering, so this is just that continuation to add the bank stabilization to phase 1.
That's being done in-house too? You guys are like the work for it or
No.
not contracting?
It would, so this is engineering.
Okay, so we're not there yet.
We are not there yet, but we will not be doing that work. It'll be wrapped up in phase 1 construction.
Okay.
So I mentioned I was on Commerce's website. I'm afraid I have a bunch of questions on this one.
Okay,
There is this directly applies. There is a national media article being carried talking about how 2 water hydrants in city parks in New York City cost $375,000. And there's a breakdown of why it happened, and it's talking about how did America get to this point. So unfortunately, I read that, then I saw Commerce's website, and then I saw this, and not being unfamiliar with federal contracts and dealing with Army Corps of Engineers in my personal business and so on, I started looking at this the same. Let's back up and ask a couple of questions. The first question is our bank actually being eroded?
very much.
Excellent, okay. Next question, is it possible that there is a rubber stamp that the engineer could look somewhere along the Pondere River shore, somewhere within our region that doesn't have to go to Medley and say, we've done bank stabilization here, there, or elsewhere, let's just apply that would apply in this situation, $5,000, $10,000, why is it $60,000 to have bank stabilization study?
To get approved, it's working, it's developing the engineering, it is working through with Army Corps of Engineers. It will be extended out a bit as well, so that there is room for driving, so it's more than just the bank stabilization, it is getting it to a point where we can have driving access around that third clarifier that's pushing it outside.
I appreciate that. Please don't take any of these comments to be an attack on your professional work. You know what I think about how you do this stuff.
So it's not just, put small, big, bigger, fill it in. It's more than just that for this engineering.
I appreciate that. I was just looking at the project. I was thinking the way this contract has been, it looks like we've got almost $4.5 million project. When we're all done with that, I mean, $2 million of concrete dumped over the edge will never have erosion again. I know that's simplistic. We can't do that. Can we, again, is there any way to start reducing these costs? I guess what I'm looking at is at $39 trillion of the national debt. Looked these up earlier today. That is $117,000 per person we all owe, or $280,000 per taxpayer. In Washington state, we have an $18,500 obligation per taxpayer of local and state debts. So now we're looking to go another $30,000 in debt for a study to develop a plan to do bank stabilization, I guess.
No, this is actual engineering.
This is. okay,
This is
the
engineering
part,
of
okay.
phase
But-
one.
But again, the point is that we're again indenturing our neighbors and relatives another $30,000. I guess what I would like to ask the council, because I'm new and I would like to do this in unity. Would you guys think it would be advisable to request from our city administration a bar graph showing all the current debts that the city has, the length of time until it expires, and the amount of payment that we're making, whether it's monthly or quarterly or annually or how that looks, so we have some idea of where we actually sit, and in a single glance, kind of a look-see, and then we might be able to make better decisions as we continue to do some of these projects. I mean, look at the South Hill fluoridation thing, $4 million on the hook for a big project that never happened up there on the bench. And so we're making long payments on that. And then Abby, you've taught me about some of these things that happened 20 years ago that have a 40-year loan payment period, and yet the equipment expires in 20 years. So I'm not trying to play the devil's advocate here. I guess I've just got a little bit of dander up because somebody's got to start establishing fiscal responsibility, and it's obviously not happening at the national level, and it doesn't look like it's happening at the state level. So my question is, can we as a community get together and say, hey, is this what we want to do? Absolutely, everybody wants to flush and make it go away safely and sanitary, I understand that. But I guess, am I reading this wrong? And I'm asking you guys with more experience. I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill, but it's one more tick charge.
I think a couple of years ago, we got to take a look at what our to and how it was structured over the years, and you know, we're carrying 40-year, 50-year loans and debts like that, and it was, I would just say honestly, 10, 12 years ago, it was something that the city council wasn't even in a conversation of. Nobody would ever tell us, but then what we saw a couple of years ago, it's detrimental for the simple fact that we're in debt for the next 25 years easily. Some of those things that we borrowed against, you know, it's a 25, 30-year term, and we still have 25 plus years left on some of those. And so, yeah, it kind of is out of the city council's hands for the simple fact that it's just, it was never passed on to us. But what you're asking for is, 100%, I think everybody should get a look at it, because when you get it, you get a look at it, you go, are you kidding me? But I think this is, and I think, not to make this an excuse, this started 2 city administrators ago, where nobody got a great look at it. But it was just like, hey, just pass this, that's just the way it is. But when you see it, and I think honestly, I think the public should see it, for the simple fact that that's how the money was managed back in the day, and we're gonna suffer for this for the next 20 years, and that's the sad part about that.
Not only that, but just having, like you're saying, a clear snapshot of it, that should keep everybody's feet to the flame and tackling that debt and getting it wiped out. We know it's gonna be a long-term thing, and, but death by 1,000 cuts, we can get rid of it. Understanding that we have lots of infrastructure that needs updated and fixed.
That's the balance.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah.
And the perfect part is we have a brand new clerk that can provide that for us.
So, does that need to be a separate motion or separate ask, or do we need to drop it down for next time? Yeah.
No,
Just-
Yeah.
it might not be, so. I do want to give Teresa a little grace.
Yes, yeah.
She's running 2 positions right now. We're all trying to pitch in and help, so it's something we will definitely work on and get it in as timely a manner as possible.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for everybody in this room and what you guys have been doing. I guess I'm simply asking, at what point do we say, wait a minute, and we do still have some local control? We may not have control at the state level, we may not control the federal level, we have local control. So I'm simply asking, let's pause and think about this. Now, to tonight's question, I am willing to defer to you guys, because again, your tenure, you've been here longer, you know stuff. If you guys thought this is gonna do great, I'm just noticing that this is another $6,000 a year plus 0.5% interest, which is way less than inflation. So, I mean, I understand the mechanics of the economy and how that works, but it is yet another debt that we're putting ourselves and our neighbors into.
Well, and it's, this, remember too, it's part of that bigger picture with the wastewater plant too.
Agreed. I mean, I just think that if everybody has their eyes on it, then maybe you have a better understanding, or you could actually ask specific questions to particular things. But I know that when I've seen a couple years ago, it just to me, it was like bad management and bad choices.
Right, we have an opportunity to change, so here we are. Thank you.
If you go and look at the wastewater, like, they'll be able to show you the plant out there, like where it's eroded and the water has been. And I don't know if you did the tours.
I think we did get to walk on the backside of, well, actually, we did, we walked to where it actually deposits it into the little channel that goes down the river, but.
And Nathan, I've seen it up at Cusick where a similar area than what we're talking about here in Newport. I think it was like in the neighborhood of $100,000. Yeah, and that's armory. So,
And this is again, sometimes being an outsider, you kind of go, maybe there's some different perspective. Has anybody done any back of the napkin map to say, what if we moved the wastewater plant and didn't even have the exposure to the river? Dynamic is not on water.
Yeah.
Castle's not, Spirit Lake's not. I mean, there's a bunch of other communities that have treatment plants that don't have exposure to federal water.
So in our general facilities plan, there were several options kind of gone through. This was the least.
Thank you. I appreciate the thoroughness. Yeah, I just didn't have to ask, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Pumps, we pump around anyway, maybe we turn the pumps to go somewhere else.
Yeah, you know, with discharge and stuff, but yeah, it was the least cost alternative.
Thank you so much.
Not saying it's not a huge cost, but it was the least cost alternative. And it's also the process of moving something like that, you'd probably be looking minimum of 5 to 10 years for
Wow.
relocation, like if it was, because one of the alternatives was, you know, the South Bench, could we have a secondary, that maybe helped with the Little Spokane watershed? They shut us down with that, so we did explore several different options with ecology through the facilities plan.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's good to know at least somebody looked. I mean,
Yes,
We have looked at, which you might have been here for that for your first term, but, what was called a package plan.
Yes, yes.
That was really cool, and it would have been a really neat way of doing that, but, yeah, like Abby said, it was. Yeah, it was gonna be cost prohibitive, and the way that our plant is set up, the way that it was set up for future expansion, it's the most feasible way of going about it.
And the time that it takes to get everything in line only makes that more expensive as we go forward too, because costs go up. Which is a challenge as well. And. All right.
No further questions here.
Your motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Public Works Board's reconstruction funding agreement, PR 26 -96 410-016.
And I'll second it.
I have first and a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Brings us down to those in payroll.
There's a small staff, they're fine. But I looked at the rules of people, make a motion to pay it.
I'll say.
Your first and a second, any questions? Comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
ask a question.
Okay,
A couple of meetings ago, I asked for a drug and alcohol policy contract, and I haven't received it yet. So, you know, I'd like to get that sometime soon, and then I also like to see a copy of the Old Town Newport contract for sewer. So I like to see both of those.
okay, I believe, I know I sent so I'll go and check, I believe those were sent, but maybe they got it.
okay,
That's all I have.
right, cool. We will adjourn our meeting at 6:30 PM. Thank you.
If you CC me on that, so.
We are, some new
Like that's that one.
Come here. You got it. Yeah.
Okay.
But I also was.
Part of it, yeah, well, get that. No, put on his lap.
I was like, it's all same time, right? And it's much easier to go.
No, get the instructions. I'll let you.
The what?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I met you? They're only there for about 2 years. Yeah, they're.
Okay.